Okay. Um, Before I get into it, just a brief check-in. Central Virginia Urban Farm Fellowship, Winter 2025. How are y'all feeling as of January, was it 7th, 2026, week 8 of the fellowship? How is this information soaking up? What are some revelations that you have come to? What are some visions that are starting to percolate? What are some gaps that you feel like you might still need some pouring into?
I think the bits and pieces are starting to make sense to me, in terms of being able to put them together and use them as a completed puzzle. Um, my only particular problem, I think, in my situation is going to be pest control.
Mm,
I think I got the rabbits covered, but the squirrels are still with me.
check, check. Well, they're gonna be there. This is now, um, yeah, the squirrels are feisty. You know what I'm saying? And I promise you, uh, yeah, there's nothing we could do. I mean, we could put down like cayenne pepper and sprinkle that into your rolls, but you just got to grow enough, man. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. You got to grow enough to feed the friends that can get through your fence. I haven't had we haven't we've always grown enough where it was like, oh, okay, well, the deer got a little bit, the squirrels got a little bit, the rabbits got a little bit, and you know, yeah, we make do. It's like, what's the least invasive strategy? We can blow up the squirrels, but then what's that gonna do to your crops? Anybody else?
Yeah, I appreciate that advice. I don't like squirrels, and maybe feeding them, making a portion for them might help. But as far as the class, I think it's starting to sink in as I was doing my homework. Things were making a little more sense to me. I'll tell you, starting out, everything was like another language, learning we had a garden, but I didn't know any of the specifics about gardening. We would just get the seedlings and plant them and go for it. So learning all of this, um, it's been a challenge in the short period of time. But I think, like I said, it's getting just hearing the different terminology over and over again and looking back through the notes, it's kind of clicking a little bit. I really don't know what I have specifically. I don't know if I can say there's something that I need a little extra help with. Probably all of it,
Hmm.
but I'm going at it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen, there's not we could the stuff starts to really formulate the more you do it, right? One, the soil building, soil fertility, that is an ongoing practice, and you got to figure out what your process is going to be and how you do it. Um, but doing something and doing it consistently, right? You'll see the results we keep talking about, organic matter, compost, amending, right? Crop rotation, crop planting. Like, these are things that you have to do to really garner a real understanding of it. It's like it's hard to to academify farming. It's truly difficult. I mean, we could use the biggest words and talk about these practices in theory, but once you do it and you see what it does, right? When you see what it does to add cover crops to your row, and then adding compost and amendments to your row from season to season, what it does to your crops, then it's like, oh, you start digging through and you see the worms and the insects, right? And you see the quality of your soil change before your eyes. It's like, oh, I ain't got to use all of this highfalutin language. This is something ancient. This is a this is a technology that I'm walking with. I'm stewarding this, and it's doing this. If you do nothing, you'll see nothing. But if you do something, you'll see something. You know. Um, Anyone else want to share? What are some things that are coming into clearer view as we start to implement, or as we started to develop those roles over at Runnymede?
A quarter acre sounds really scary until you see how big that actually is. It's not. Seems like pretty manageable amount of space.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Thanks for that, Alex. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The space that y'all built over the last at Sankofa is probably about an eighth of an acre. So we just doubled that, you know. So yeah, it's real. It make it actually walking that parcel and measuring it off made it real for you.
Yeah, I would say so. I was kind of like imagining us all on the farm at that point. I was like, look at that. That could be it.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice. All right, so look, let's talk about the money. Let's talk about money. So I want to preface this by saying that I didn't get into farming to make money or to be rich or whatever, or all those things. But when I got into it, I realized that I needed currency in order to sustain what I was doing. The farm itself has many different streams of energy to sustain the effort. It's science in the sense of I have to be able to pull in a certain amount of energy in order to kick out a certain amount of energy. If you don't develop strategies to create revenue for your farm, then your farm you're gonna have to figure out where you're gonna get the money from in order to keep this going. Let's keep it real. You could be a hobbyist, and that's cool. You could do this on the side and dump money into it as much as you like. However, if you want this to be a perpetual motion machine, then you might want to figure out mechanisms for your farm to generate energy so that it can sustain itself. So tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about making money on the farm. So the first thing out the gate, everyone has already done their manifesting their farm uh, uh, profile, right? So in that, we talk about what's your mission, what's your goals. And when you have that mission in mind, the first thing to figure out is like, how much money am I trying to make? What do I need for this for this to sustain itself? Do I need X amount of dollars so I can do this full time? Do I need X amount of dollars so this garden farm pays for itself? Do I need X amount of dollars to run the programs that I want to run? What is the figure? What's the number that you're trying to accomplish? And I feel like it's essential to figure that out on the front end rather than trying to back into it. I spent a lot of money on farm spaces, gardens, over the years. And yeah, I've learned the hard way that, your farm project can be a money pit, right? Where you just dumping dollars into infrastructure and tools and seeds and seedlings and all this stuff just for the joy of growing a thing, which is, if that's the party that you want to go to, amen. I salute your capacity for that. And I envy you to be able to do that. But for me and others like me, I don't really have, that bottomless pit to just dump money into. We're dealing with a budget, right? And we want this to make the impact that we want it to make. So matching our mission and our goals with how much money we need to make to accomplish that mission and goals is a critical piece of the puzzle. Who is your customer? Farming is a vocation, y'all. It is a business, right? And businesses have customers or clients, right? Who are your clients? Who are your customers? Thinking about that on the front end will help you figure out what is it that I'm doing and how am I going to generate revenue on this farm. So for us, after we figure out what our customer is, for me, I'm not interested. When I say customers, I'm thinking about, am I selling to individuals? And if I'm selling to individuals, who are those individuals that I'm selling to? Am I selling to businesses? If I'm selling to businesses, what are those businesses, right? If I'm selling to nonprofits, if I'm selling services, who am I selling those to? And then if I'm selling produce, I gotta know who I'm selling my stuff to if I'm gonna grow these things, right? What are the things that I'm gonna grow? If I don't know who I'm growing to, I'm shooting in the dark in terms of what they're going to buy. And this is where a lot of folks get stuck because they grow these things and then nobody want to buy it because you grew a bunch of stuff that you like, which is great, but that don't necessarily mean everybody else want that stuff. All right. So when I start thinking about what I'm gonna grow, I break it down into three different categories. What are my quick crops? What are my quick crops being 30-day turnaround? Lettuces, salad greens, radishes, things that I can grow. I can grow in 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, and get it into somebody's hands. My second category are my slow crops. These are the things that are going to take a little longer. That's going to sit in the ground a little bit longer. Those are my cabbages, my carrots, my onions, my garlic, right? The reason why I separate those two things, quick crops from slow crops, is because if I want to generate revenue on a consistent basis, I can't have stuff sitting in the ground for 90 to 120 days thinking that I'm gonna make some money off it, right? What am I making money off in between? So I gotta have a nice little, have to have a nice balance of things that I can grow quick, that I can sell, and things that might take a little longer, right? So when I'm thinking about my quarter acre, how do I divvy up that quarter acre so that I got things that I can grow that I can cut and harvest every 30, 35 to 40 days versus I got some things that's going to take a little bit longer. What's going to be my you know quick turnaround stuff versus the stuff that's going to take a little time to bake, right? Now, the last category is the high value crops. My peppers, my tomatoes, eggplants, cucumbers, melons. I know all that stuff is high value. I know people want that, right? But I also know that that's going to be a little bit more expensive. That in terms of what I put the value on it, right? The higher value crops tend to be my summer crops too. So when I'm thinking about planning my crop rotations, I know, okay, well, in the spring and in the fall, I can grow a wider variety of quick crops, right? But in the summer, I got 90 days to get those peppers, tomatoes, eggplants to the people, right? So you're balancing you're balancing these conversations about what I'm going to grow with your crop rotation and with who are your customers, okay? However, there are multiple ways to skin a cat. A lot of farmers love going to farmers markets. I am not one of them. I am no fan of the farmers market. There's this weird uh, conception amongst the farmer community, that the only way you're going to sell your vegetables is if you set up a farm stand at a farmer's market. I personally don't believe that's true. I took a page out of the book of a gentleman by the name of Booker T. Watley. He was a farmer from Tuskegee University. Booker T. Watley wrote a book, How to Make $100,000 on your farm. And in the book, he talks about the what's it called? He called it the membership. He called it a buyer membership club. I think that's what he called it, buyer membership club, some to customer membership club. Essentially, Booker T. Wiley was the first, or as far as we know, farmer to talk about creating CSAs, or uh, community supported agriculture. This idea of you paying a farmer in advance for produce by you paying a membership or a fee, and then him or her having the produce for you to either pick up or he drops it off on you. African American farmer from Tuskegee gives us that. The CSA, in his vision, was, it was an inexpensive thing. But you pay a certain amount of money a month, and then you can come to the farm and harvest X amount of produce based on your membership. And he would grow according to how many memberships he had sold. When you got to his farm, you got a basket or a box or something like that, and then he had people on team to help you get your harvest. And that was a transaction. And that way he could control his farm revenue on the front end versus growing all this stuff and hoping that somebody was going to buy it after he grew it. Okay? This is the reason why I am not a fan of the farmers market, because the farmers market as a model is essentially a battle royale. You versus every other farmer that shows up at the farmers market. I'm not interested in going into the Coliseum with other farmers in my community. Right? It's not my thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, I got carrots, I got lettuce, I got, onions, garlic, peppers, eggplant. So does the homie from up the block. So it's really about, okay, who can put on the best customer service, who's got the best vendor booth, right? Who's got the best prices, who has the most volume. Because y'all have been to the farmer's market before. I'll ask y'all a question. If you go to the farmer that got abundance in his booth, and you go next door and the guy got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, who you gonna buy from? What's gonna be your decision? What's gonna be the decision point for you when you walk up on those booths, those two booths, and you see guy A got crates and crates of carrots and everything? They look like the grocery store section, and then the guy next to him got two green peppers, 5-6 heads of lettuce, and a cup of squash. The price, Anna says the price, but before you even see the price, y'all some nice people, man. I love y'all, man.
No, I'm
It
gonna.
mean it mean the one with
Honestly,
the smallest crop is probably better because if he got a lot left, his supply may not be good unless he have an over harvest.
So I heard you. When I go to the farmers market, what I see people do is they're psychologically attracted to the booth that got the most stuff, that's the most lush and the most full. Because it's like, oh, look at all that. So if that be the case, when you go to the corner store and they got 2-3 bananas in the bin, you're like, hey, oh, well, I got 2-3 bananas. I'm gonna cop those bananas. But those bananas be in that bin every time I go in the corner store. That same onion be in that basket every time I go into the corner store. Nobody asks how much it costs. Nobody cares. Every time I go to 7-Eleven, it's the same bananas. But when you go to the grocery store, they keep it stocked. It's always there. So I think psychologically, when people see abundance, they think, oh, vegetables. You see the guy that got a little bit of stuff, you're like, well, what's wrong with that stuff? Why he ain't got why it ain't but so much over there? We are like, some of us are maybe tuned to be like, oh yeah, maybe he sold out. But I think the average customer ain't thinking like that. You know what I mean? So when you go to the farmer's market as a small grower on a 1/4 acre of land, you're competing with the guy that got 300 acres. And it really is no competition, y'all. I'm gonna keep it funky with you. The dude that got 300 acres gonna have the better prices than you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. He got more volume than you, right? So he can by definition he can afford to sell his stuff at a lower rate than somebody that has a smaller parcel.
Yeah, he don't want to have to lug that stuff back home.
Exactly. So the guy that got 300 acres can sell his cabbages for 50 cents a cabbage, while you with a 1/4 acre, you might gotta sell that junk for $1. You dig what I'm saying? It's that's the challenge for us small farmers at farmers markets, right? Now there's another way though, because our proximity to community and urban spaces allows us to develop relationships where people are purchasing produce from us, and we can create a concierge service. What we do at Happily Natural Day, instead of offering up CSA shares for $500, we created what we call the Black Farmer CSA, right? And what we do is we offer up a weekly basket of produce that we've curated, that is filled with produce that we've grown, as well as produce that we've grown, that we've aggregated and purchased from farmers across our region, right? And so by doing that, we get our money up front. We bypass the farmer's market. Okay? It's a direct-to-consumer subscription service. We offer delivery as well as pickup, right? We might go to the farmer's market just to, you know, talk about this, the subscription service, but we're not going to the farmer's market like, oh my God, if I don't sell out of all of these carrots today, I'm going to be shocked. I'm going to be stuck in the mix.
How much do you charge for the weekly service?
We do $35 a week, and it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or for the season. You pay up for the whole season.
Would you say that that is due to, like, does the model allow you to pay that little, or is it the mission that allows you? Like, how does that relate to like overhead and that sort of thing?
So for us, we only purchase based on the amount of subscriptions we have for the week. And so what we do is we take the total amount of purchase of subscriptions for the week, right? And then we buy produce to fill the number of subscribers. So we never have more. We never have not enough, or we never have too much. We're only, we have what we grow as Happily Natural Day, right? And then we have what we've copped from farmers across the region. And so yeah, it does. The quantities change from week to week, but we can keep our pulse on what people want, and we know, like, okay, these are the things that we're gonna make sure are in the box every week, so we know what to grow. And then at the same time, we're factoring in, you know, the packaging and the delivery parts as well. So there's an upcharge. If we deliver it to you, you know, you gotta pay a couple extra dollars. But if you come pick it up, you pick it up, you're good to go.
How do you make sure that you have enough to fill a basket every week?
So
Like,
as a
refrigerating it?
yeah. So as far as our aggregation service, we do have walk-in coolers. You've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen it. I just like am thinking about my, tomatoes and lettuce and stuff in my own fridge that like gets moldy after like a week. So if I was to harvest a bunch of tomatoes and lettuce, then it would still get moldy. So I'm just curious what your thoughts.
Yes. So as far as the aggregation, there are protocols in terms of how you store certain produce, temperatures, right? So for potatoes, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, I might not put those in the same cooler that I have peppers, lettuces, more fragile things, right? So I have to also be, when I harvest, so for example, let's talk about the lettuces. So for lettuces, I harvest my lettuce literally the day or two before we put the boxes together. I'm not sitting the lettuce in the cooler for a week. If you and I don't buy lettuces from other farmers. I grow my own lettuce, right? Because as soon as I cut it, bag it, clean it, bag it, next day, it's going out to whoever has the box, right? Tomatoes, I've learned that they go bad. I can keep them in the refrigerator for a week at the most, right? That's why I don't grow tomatoes. First of all, I cop them from other farmers, and I can keep them for a week before they start getting mushy. So part of the aggregation part is also you having an understanding of what how you store post harvest. All of this is a critical component. You can't do the subscription service without some form of cold storage. Now it don't have to be a walk-in cooler like we got. You could get an extra fridge, right? My homie Tanicio in Atlanta, he went on Craigslist and found a couple old refrigerators, put them in the back of his sunroom, and took the shelves out, all the excess shelves, and that's how he stored his excess produce, the produce that he was going to sell. Right, so that's a part of your selling too, is having some form of cold storage.
And presumably also growing seasonally, right? Like there's no way that the people can get like tomatoes all 52 weeks out of the year, right?
No, well, yeah, not from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, not from us. You can get tomatoes all 52 weeks a year, but they're going to be more expensive, and they're going to be coming from Florida.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
You can also
another
get a
thing.
greenhouse, right?
You can grow in your greenhouse, but even in Virginia, unless you have a temperature control, a climate control greenhouse, you cannot grow tomatoes and cucumbers in the winter in your greenhouse. You got to have something that's keeping those tomatoes at 80 degrees, at 70, at least 60 degrees for you to keep the production on it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So, farmers markets, that's one mechanism. And if you want to run the gauntlet, you can run the gauntlet in that. If you want to be a farmer that we aggregate from, that's a conversation to be had too. You can create your own subscription program, your own CSA program, and you can cultivate your own community of customers. The way we do this, we have a list of folks that have been purchasing from us for at least 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. We've done this for a long time. So whenever we, launch it for the season, we got an already built-in list versus, you go to the farmer's market. If you didn't collect that information, email, phone number from the folks that purchased from you, then every season you back at it from scratch. This is the era of CRM, customer relationship management. And if you have to develop a system for capturing the contact of your customers, whatever you're trying to do, whether it's the farmers market or a CSA program or a hybrid like what we got. Now, we do the aggregation thing, but you can also buy extra stuff that's not inside of your box when you come pick up. So we might have jams, honeys, we might have spice blends, packaged herbs, merchandise, other, things that are not inside the box that you can buy and add on to the box too. So these are other ways that we make money. When I first started doing this pop-up farmers market kind of CSA hybrid thing, we would have pre-curated bags, but then like if I had watermelons, you had to buy the watermelon on top of whatever you was picking up. So every summer I learned that when I do my deliveries, or when we do our pickups for the CSA, we got watermelons for sale. And then we sell the watermelons, we know people gonna buy those all day. But we already have a built-in market for that. Does that make sense? All right. Another strategy, pick your own. Farms all over are, again, working to ensure that they have consistent customers. And it is a labor to harvest produce and then hope people to come purchase it. What some farmers are doing to bypass that, they have a fee. You can come spend $10, $15, and come pick as much as you like. Carter Mountain Farms is a great example of that. You pay a certain fee and you go to Carter Mountain Farms, they give you a bag and you can pick as many apples fit in the bag for that fee. And you get another bag, you pay another fee, right? So that pick your own, it's an experience for people. We did it at one of our earlier farms. You know, we had to pick up for your CSA bag, but we also had, like, you can go buy a bag, and then we had staff that'll walk with you, show you how to harvest stuff. Celery, you know, people never harvested celery before. So having people that can actually show people, like, hey man, don't pull the whole celery out, cut it at the bottom, you know, boom, wrap it up with a rubber band or whatever, in your bag, there you go. Hey, you don't need to pull up the whole collard green plant. Pick the leaves from the bottom, put them inside of the bag, boom, you're good to go. And so for families, that's a great experience. You know, we would have folks bring their kids to the pick your own. And so this is also a way of you also like thinking, okay, well, I can only sell X amount of pick your own tickets for the day because I only got so much inside of the row. You define for the folks that come how much they can pick. You know what I mean? Maybe you have a scale at the front. It's like, yo, you can get X amount of this, X amount of that, X amount of that. Go for what you know. This is also a way to collect those customers and their data, their information. Already talked about farmers markets, rent a booth. The thing about the booth at the farmers market is like you not only are you competing on the quality of your produce, you're competing on the quality of your presentation. You know what I'm saying? So baskets, banners, you know, recipes, things to engage folks when they show up to your booth. That is what is going to set you apart. We've been doing festivals for the last 23 years, y'all. Trust me, your presentation and how you set up your booth makes the world of difference. People ain't even going to be checking for the quality of your product if your booth presentation ain't up to par. I know y'all got great hearts and y'all gonna give people a chance. But the majority of the populace, if they don't see that you have, you know, really thought out and dialed in on what your branding is and how you know, presenting your stuff, they just gonna walk on by. It's a million people. I mean, I tell you the same thing when I went to Africa. It's the same deal. When we went in the market in Africa, bruh, it's a madhouse in the market. It's a madhouse. It's a madhouse. Everybody got something for sale, right? So how are you standing apart? And the folks was coming up to me and being like, "Yo, I got the shit for the low, my friend. Come holla at me." Literally, tap you on your shoulder. Hey, man, let me show you something. So, I mean, what's your energy? If you're an introverted person, the farmer's market is not for you, my friend. You are not gonna make it. You're gonna be very disappointed. You need persons manning your booth at the farmer's market, and your presentation got to be tight. And not only your presentation, but how you sell. Are you a salesman? If you're not a salesman, the farmer's market might not be for you. Just a cautionary tale. Because, you know, you got to pay a fee for the booth. So off the rip, you already done spent, you know, 50, 75, $100. So before you even walk up, you got to already account. I need to make $175. I need to make $75 today. I'm in the red before I even showed up at the farmer's market. So these are the considerations you got to have. All right. Some of us sell directly to restaurants and caterers, you know, weekly, bi-weekly. Selling to the restaurants is a delicate thing. If you mess up once, you lose that customer forever. Forever. Okay? If that chef is waiting for you to bring him lettuce on Tuesday and you don't show up on Tuesday, He going to get it from somebody else because he gotta have lettuce. What restaurant you go to, sit down restaurant that don't have salad? Even if nobody buys a salad for that day, they gotta buy salad. And if you were the one that he was counting on to bring that salad, and you don't come, you lost that customer forever. Right? Restaurants are also very fickle because you gotta find a way to talk to the chef, the owner. That ain't who you need to talk to. You need to talk to the chef. Who's cooking the food? Who made the menu up? That might be the owner. But if it ain't the owner, you need to talk to the person that's deciding what goes into the food. And that's just a simple, hey, I'm going to go eat at your restaurant. I'd like to meet the chef. Right? Get that relationship going. Figure out what day they cop, they produce, and you in there. But you got to be consistent. Got to be on time. It's got to be, your produce got to be clean, got to be quality. If they keep your stuff 1 week and your stuff is mushy, it's been sitting in the sun, it ain't really high quality, you lost that customer forever. There's no do-overs. There's no I'm sorry, my bads when you're dealing with somebody that their livelihood is dealing with the ingredients of the food that you sold them. But it's a very lucrative space to occupy. Restaurants want local produce. They have trouble finding reliable sources. So they spend their money with aggregators, third parties. Right? They'll go to the third party because they know they can get this stuff. They'll go to Restaurant Depot because they know Restaurant Depot got it. They want to be able to tell the story if they bought it from the local farmer, but the local farmer got to be on time and got to show up with the stuff. And you also got to be able to do a better price than, or at least a comparable price to what they can spend at Costco or Restaurant Depot or Sam's Club. Now I know some of the restaurants are like, yeah, we source local, but local sometimes means they get it from the local aggregator who might have got it from Pennsylvania. Right? You know what I'm saying? So these are just also things. But your sales pitch is like, hey, you caught from a local farmer. You can put our information on your menu that you bought from us. You're supporting the community. Da 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 da. It's nutrient dense. It was harvested this week. You can tell all those stories. But the critical piece is making sure that you have quality and you're on time when it comes to the restaurant. The third or fourth, I say, is contract growing. So we work with larger scale farms, and we like to give them contracts. So we'll be like, yo, I need you to grow my cabbages for this year. I'm gonna pay you $2,500 at the top of the season, and I'll pay you the other $2,500 at the end of the season. But I want you to drop off X amount of cabbages on me every week, and that way I know I have my cabbages. I'm not gonna grow no cabbages because I got cabbages coming from King Farms. The same thing, I do the same thing with the watermelons. Like, yo, I'm gonna pay you X amount of dollars at the top of the season for watermelons. You bring me 4 bins of watermelons a week for 2 months. Right? Now, when I do those contracts, you could be a contract grower. What are your terms? How much can you grow? Right? This goes back to your crop rotation planning, right? Thinking about how many square feet you have to grow in. And it's something that will evolve. Your skills on this will evolve as you practice. But if you start small, be like, yo, I can grow 100 square feet of rosemary. Just pick something. And it's gonna cost you $125. I'll grow you 100 pounds of rosemary, and I'll bring you. That's a lot of rosemary. I'm just keep it a buck with you. 100 pounds of rosemary is nothing to shake a stick at, right? But I'm gonna give you. Say I'm gonna do it for 10 weeks. I give you 10 pounds of rosemary a week. That's a lucrative thing to figure out how you dial it in, and it give you a chance to really stretch out your season. You got your money up front. This also works with restaurants, but again, it's a trust thing. You gotta build that relationship before you can start entering into contract along with these folks. All right, I got a couple more slides, and then let me see. Kofi is in here. I know he's coming. Am I going too fast for y'all? Do y'all got questions? I don't want to speak too fast and miss something. Don't feel free to put your questions in the chat as I'm going, because I'm gonna just keep dropping this stuff. Y'all remember we did the square foot farming, square foot gardening conversation? I got that from Cliff Slade, farmer in Surrey County. 40,560 square foot is the baseline of what you should be able to do on an acre of land. Now, if you work on a quarter acre, you got 3 seasons to do 10,000 square feet worth of it's like $30,000 that you should be able to make in a year if you maximize the entire 10,000 square feet that is your quarter acre, or 12,000 square feet that is your quarter acre, right? At a baseline, if you charge $1 a pound per square foot of the thing that you're growing, you should be able to make at least 30,000. If you have an acre, you should be able to make 43,000 in a year. Okay, in a year. Don't underestimate it. It's about crop rotation and planting. All right. So, what are some other methods that we use to make money on the farm? In our business, we have a mobile kitchen. So the Happily Natural Day mobile kitchen allows us to take the produce that we grow, put it on the kitchen, put it through the kitchen, sell stuff that we cook. We also can roll up and do our own farmers market. We can pull up in the middle of your hood and sell veggies off the back of the truck or off the back of the food truck. You also can make money selling cut flowers. Shout out to Kieran. We've been talking about this a lot. The cut flower, every day somebody getting married, man. People getting married every week. Every week somebody getting married. Where they get the flowers from? Vogue is one of them. What's the other one on flower? What's it? Flowerama. It's another one down there for Forest Hill. I can't remember the name of it. But cut flowers are big business. The River City Flower Exchange, right? Some of these flowers are uber expensive. Dahlias are expensive flowers, right? Ranunculus. These are expensive flowers. They're not just like, and it's per stem, like $4 or $5 per stem. Right? So it's big money to be made, and it's the same processes that you're using to grow healthy vegetables, you're using to grow flowers. The same soil fertility methods are necessary for cut flowers. Right? You can also do a subscription program specifically with cut flowers. I remember I worked at the Botanical Garden. The Botanical Garden at Lewis Ginner, they would sell their flowers to folks that would have weddings at the Botanical Garden. So think about it. If you use your farm space as a venue for weddings, you can also sell flowers to the folks that are renting your farm to have their wedding. It's free game. Value added products. So what is a value added product? Value added product is anything that you grew on the farm that you turn into something else and then sell it. It does not have to be a long, huge, prolific like processing chamber for you to make a thing. I have a dehydrator, right? 16 tray dehydrator. I take my peppers I grew at Sankofa, put them in my dehydrator, dry them out, put them in a blender, blend them up, put them into spice jars. That is a value added product. I take my lettuce, grow my lettuce inside of the field, chop it, put it in a bag, put a sticker on it with my logo. That is a value added product because I put it in the bag, right? And put my logo on it. That increased the value of what I was growing, right? If I have apples, figs, let me dry that stuff out, put it into a thing. Make a barbecue sauce, a spaghetti sauce out of the tomatoes that I grew. I went to an event one time. The folks that were on the farm had made salads inside of the clamshells, made their own balsamic dressing, were selling the salads in the clamshell. That's a value added product, right? So you will make more money selling value added products than you will selling the raw vegetables. This is a part of the branding of your farm. Your farm has products that you can create. If I have bees, I can make put the honey inside of a bottle. This is now happily natural honey, right? This is just, I'm trying to get you to think about what kind of things you can make. This is all going to be subjective and up to you. Once you do this, you might want to think about a commercial kitchen, your own kitchen. Some churches have commercial kitchens that you can utilize. Developing those relationships are up to you. There's, I think, a cottage, what's it called? Cottage law. You can grow up to a certain amount in your own house before, you got to get a bunch of people involved. Thanks, Ray. Value adding is not just the produce. If you make compost on your farm, you can sell the compost. We make biochar that's charged up with fish fertilizer to get all the microbes inside of it. That's a product that we make on the farm. You can't eat it, but the soil can. That compost tea, those plant-based fertilizers, medicines from the herbs, all of those things can be value-added products. All right. Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta use the bathroom. I'm moving around like a little kid. Give me one
By the
second.
way, the reason why I was out for a while is because I had this is my birthday today and I was like doing stuff. I was I think last time I was at the Dismal Swamp, so yeah.
Hey, happy birthday.
I have to be careful.
Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Happy
happy Impact
birthday.
Day.
Ooh, a day. I'm gonna go to the Dismal Swamp for the first time soon. I want to hear all about it.
Oh, you will enjoy it.
Yeah, it's nice. It is kind of overgrown with like a lot of invasive privets and stuff, and but there's plenty of nice like old trees, just like some old pines you'll see there. There was this beautiful gray bird
Uh-huh.
that you'll see has like black eyes and
Cool.
this stuff.
Cool. That sounds great.
What is this place?
The Great Dismal Swamp.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy. That sounds like a location in a fantasy realm. The Great Dismal Swamp.
Yeah, it's fantastic. In fact, the U.S. Navy used to, that's where they used to get fresh water for their ships before they shipped out to sea as recently as the 1940s. But I just love it because it's a wonderful place to kayak.
I can't wait.
This place looks
Good to
really cool.
know.
There's some like giant river canes and uh some large sycamores and stuff out there.
Nice.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that, y'all. Happy birthday, a day.
Hmm.
Yo, a day bring those native flowers every week. That's a value added product. A day, if you wanted to put a price tag on those packages of native plant seeds that you got, you're already doing it. Sell them joints, $5, $3 a bag. There you go. You're making money. You already got a value added product, and you bring it with you every week to class.
A day I actually gave some of the seeds that you gave me as like a Christmas present to my girlfriend's brother and was like, yeah, I can introduce you to my vendor if you want more. I'm sure he can give you a good price. So you like low key already have a customer base.
There you go. So when I think about my farm, I'm thinking about my farm as having, again, more revenue than just what I grow. Okay? So to cap that part of the talk off, I have this acronym that I use. It's called PAID. It's production, aggregation, innovation, and distribution. So if you want to collapse everything I just talked about in the first second before I went to the bathroom, the farmer is the producer. You are the producer. You are the P underpaid, right? So I got raw material. You got raw material, right? Not only do you have raw material, you also can aggregate or have your product aggregated, right? So you don't have to grow all of it. Okay? You can grow your specific niche and the thing that you love to grow, and then you can buy from other farmers. There's 17 of you in this class, or 20 some of y'all in this class, right? So imagine if y'all got together and say, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna sell peppers, you gonna sell onions, you gonna sell garlic, you gonna sell lettuce, you gonna sell mustard greens, you gonna sell eggplant, you gonna sell cucumbers, you gonna sell melons, right? Everybody gonna specialize on a specific thing, and then as a collective, y'all sell to the restaurant or to the caterer or put together your own bag and all that type of stuff. Whatever you want to do, right? Producer, aggregate. Now, there's some of y'all in here that already like making shit. Josette came to the class with the cookies. This is amazing, right? So she's already an innovator. When she sold those people, she had that was it peanut butter cookies? Where you get the peanuts from? Right? Who made the peanut butter from the peanuts that went into the ingredient of
I don't think they were peanuts. I think they were. Uh, was this during the Was this in the Broad Rock area?
yeah, was they weren't peanut butter cookies?
Mm-mm. They were. I think they were. They had other stuff in them.
Well, you get the point, right? Who makes the ingredients for the items that people create? Some of us might want to make, barbecue sauce, right? What's the ingredients in barbecue sauce? Peppers, tomatoes, you know what I mean? Who's got the tomatoes on deck for that? Right? So the innovator, the restaurateur, the product maker, they are the innovators. The person that makes the herbal soaps and skin creams and body butters, they're the innovators. But where do they get their ingredients from? Okay, to make those products, right? So the I underpaid is a whole ecosystem of creators that are looking for local products from people like you. All agriculture is all our medicines, all of our herbs, right? All of our foodstuffs is all coming from a farmer. And the distribution is who's running the farmers market. Who's uh, doing the delivery service for fresh produce? Who has the coffee shop? Who has the corner store, the mom and pop's market? Who has the grocery store? Right? All of those are distribution. Right? So paid is a system for each, and underneath each letter of that acronym, there are businesses that exist. Everybody doesn't have to be a farmer, but everybody got to deal with the food in some way. Every day, somebody's dealing with we eat every day, right? So there's all of these ways. So let me scuttle through these last couple things. I'm gonna pass the mic to Ross. So on top of the growing of the things, your farm is a venue. Okay? You understand? Your farm is a place for convening and creating of experiences that people will pay for. Okay? You pay to get into Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden. It is a fee to access Ashcroft Hall, right? Okay? But not only do they put their gardens behind a wall, if you wanted to have an experience with someone to teach you something, to show you a thing on the farm, there is a cost that is associated with that. If you want someone to give you a tour of your museum, of a museum or art gallery or a botanical garden, that costs money. How are you gonna pay somebody? You can't. Why wouldn't you want to pay? This has value, right? Not only that, if someone wants to have an event at an open outdoor space, you have curated this beautiful situation, right? You go to Shirley Plantation today and ask them, can you have a wedding there for free? It's not happening, Jack. Right? It's not happening. I go to the vineyard to have a drink. I don't even go into the vineyard. You know what I'm saying? I have a drink in the little space in the front. So your farm is a venue, right? And so these are some of the things that we're talking about. Educational events on your farm, teaching people how to do something that's related to plants in your farm is an opportunity for you if you think of your farm as a venue, as a place of gathering, as well as a place of production of food. If I was to hire a day to do a plant walk to show people all of the medicinal plants that are inside of my farm, that's an educational event that could take place at my farm on a regular basis. A day's getting paid, people are learning. That is a revenue generator for my farm. Right? Right? Want farm tours. We do farm tours at Sankofa. Not only of like, okay, come learn about food justice, regenerative agriculture, climate resiliency, but we also have murals. So I can do a mural tour at Sankofa tomorrow and not talk about one thing that I'm growing at the farm. I don't even have to. It could be an hour-long experience just off the murals. Just off the murals, and people will pay to come and see the art and hear the narratives and the stories connected to who's depicted on the mural. Okay. Workshops. We did cannabis workshops, how to grow your own cannabis at Sankofa, inside of the high tunnel as depicted in this picture. People paid a fee to come and learn how to grow their own cannabis at Sankofa, right? We do dinners on the farm, farm to table dinners with produce that we've grown at the farm. We hire a chef and give people a 3-course meal at the farm with entertainment and everything. Charge $50 to $50 to $100 per seat. Uh, Alcoholic beverages, uh, uh, possibly included. And it gets even more special. We decided to do a cannabis infused dinner, right? It's a whole different experience. Anna, what's up? You got your hand raised.
Hey everyone. I had a question. So my family has a small vineyard in rural North Carolina, and we have land, we have the venue, like we have all these events. My mom currently runs it. But the problem is it's like it's in a very rural area. So I guess like my question is like how can you help combat, or how can you like spread the word, or like what's the outreach process like when it's like in a very
Rural
it's
situation.
not that far away from things, but it's like an hour and a half drive from Charlotte, like what is like the outreach, or like how do you get the word out type
So
thing?
for us, since we urban, we don't have that kind of problem. But and we're in a high population dense area. You know what I mean? But I just think about a place like Charlottesville, or Crozet, Montpelier, right? Um, I think those type of situations are more like you have to do extra. You got to do extra legwork to advertise that you have these experiences. And so I think about some of the vineyards and breweries and things like that are up in the Charlottesville area. You know, there you got to be kind of looking for those experiences, and or be in an ecosystem where you can share your promotions with other uh, experiences that are people are coming to your area for. For example, like if I would go to Luray Caverns, Luray Caverns got a little guide of things to see and do, and while I'm in that area, you know what I'm saying? Um, so that cross promotion is a thing. As a like guerrilla marketing, like how do I collaborate in my marketing for one thing so I make sure that I'm showing up in another thing, so I'm crossing the paths of people that normally wouldn't be checking for me. Airbnb experiences are another thing, or verbal experiences, like making sure my stuff is listed as people come take these visits into my area for those rural experiences. Like they could be checking for me too, for things. But that's a deeper dive. So how
Yeah, I
it's
feel like
so
that's like the biggest challenge that like my family faces with like running this business is just like getting people to come.
yeah.
And it's like we have this beautiful wedding event like space like for weddings, and but it's just like how do you like draw people
Market.
in? Yeah.
Yeah, so for us, for our situation in these more peri-urban or 30 minutes outside of the city slash in the city, the marketing is a lot easier because we're connected to circles of and spheres of communities,
Right.
right? And we can create our own experiences on our farm using social media, using regular, using marketing through social media, and then marketing through, other forms of electronic media, putting your shit up on, streaming services. Like you got to invest in getting the word out about what you got going on. I know when we do Happily Naturally, which I'll talk about in a second, we pay for radio advertising, we pay for advertising on our social media, we pay for advertising on YouTube, we pay for advertising on our Google listing. Like we put money into getting the word out about what we got going on, so that you know what I'm saying, we get the turnouts that we're looking for, and then creating those signature events where we're putting it out to a large mass of people. Then they get the word about the other things that we got going on as well. You know what I mean?
Cool.
I saw your hand up, Alex. What's up?
You pretty much said what I was gonna say, but yeah, I used to do like digital organizing and advertising for like progressives. And a big thing was like there's a lot of like aggregator accounts online. So like kind of in the same way that you can advertise your Airbnb experience, like, you know, there's a million like thrifty mom finds, or like that sort of stuff where you can like do unpaid kind of like cross promotional stuff that just by kind of like googling things. So like kind of in the same vein that like if like Memphis, Tennessee, where it has this Instagram account called Future 901, which just like posts all sorts of cool stuff to do or like new places and even like kind of like social justice oriented organizations.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there kind of like that, in addition to paid advertising, like Duran said.
Yeah, so it's definitely so marketing for all of this. Marketing, if you run in a business, man, you got to figure out what mechanisms to get the word out about what you got going on. That's an investment in your business. How do I get the word out about what we're doing? Right? It's critical. So the last one I'm gonna show you. So for us at Happily Natural Day, one of our we do our annual Happily Natural Day festival on one of our farm sites, right? So our farm is off to the side, but then we have an open field that we utilize for the festival, and we put a lot of money and a lot of time and energy in curating the festival music. You know what I'm saying? Workshops, panel discussions, vendors, the whole shebang. But it doubles as not only this, immersive experience with all of the music and all of the social justice and social change and, et cetera, that's thematic through that, but it also shines a spotlight on all of the other stuff that we got going on. So it's our opportunity to just kind of like, yo, we're advertising to the people that's coming to our event. This is our core audience. People that are interested in natural health and wellness, people that are interested in culture or arts, people that are interested in social change. Y'all are our people. This is who we targeting. We ain't trying to cut through the noise and try to get no MAGA audiences. We ain't talking to the Garden Society of Virginia, the old, retired white women. That's not our bag. That's not who we trying to target. We trying to target people that are interested in increasing their health, trying to get outdoors and reconnect to the land, that are also synced up and excited about natural healing, natural wellness, taking care of their community. And this big tent event allows us to also collaborate with our ecosystem. So all of the vendors are spreading the word about the festival. The performers are doing the same. The workshop facilitators are doing the same. And so it's an all-in-one. It's a cooperative. It's a collaborative effort of all of those that are participatory in it, right? Because they got shit to sell. They got campaigns that they trying to get the word out about. And we're convening the masses of the target audiences that are all in this Venn diagram together at this one location, right? And we do events like during the festival weekend, we doing events on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And at each day of the experience, you touching multiple spaces that's connected to us. Whether it's Sankofa, Petersburg Oasis, some of our partner farms, you seeing all of what we got to offer, right? And so that is agritourism. Okay? The idea of agritourism is that my farm is attracting people that are visiting that are not necessarily just from this area. There's people that are out and about in DC and North Carolina and Baltimore. We've had people come from Atlanta and Brooklyn, Philadelphia. Like, so you have the opportunity by virtue of having your own farm, of creating that, what you call it, beacon, that draw for all of the missionary, the mission and the goals that you're espousing through your farm, you can create signature events that when the people come to your event, you got the value added products that you've made for sale, right? And whatever other, produce that you might have for sale, you can have all that stuff in the mix. Or whatever other merchandise or services that you have to deliver, you have that stuff at those events. It's like you cast your own net. You don't wait for nobody to just, walk up to you. You create magnets to draw them to you, right? And then you throw everything that you got at them. And if whatever sticks is whatever sticks, and you give and that rhythm of consistency of doing your on-farm tourism, your agritourism activities in tandem with the things that you grow and the things that you make from what you grow is how you generate the revenue for your farm on a long-term ongoing basis. These are systems that you have to create for yourself. I had my man Cash. Cash was like, "Yo, man, I farm, but I also tutor." So he's trying to figure out how to do an integration of on-farm, outdoor-based education that also gives him a space where he can farm, but he can also teach STEM and do tutoring for young adults and out looking for tutoring services, but do it on the farm, right? The way in which you do your on-farm agritouristic experiences is going to be specific to what you are already, enmeshed in, and what you're trying to accomplish as a being in this realm. I mean, all of us can grow vegetables, but what Nancy is doing or what Nancy's trying to do is not gonna have to be. It doesn't have to be identical to what Sharia is trying to do. You know what I'm saying? A day might be more focused on native plants, right? But that doesn't mean that we are not interwoven, right? There's things that you are doing that I'm not doing that we can pull in and connect with each other because we need all of these things. You feel me? So yeah, yeah. Any questions? Thoughts? All right. Raj, you here? You still here?
Peace, I'm here.
Yes, sir. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna pass it off to you, my brother. Talk about the cooperative farming. I feel like I kind of queued it up.
Yeah, you did beautifully. I've been peeping the discussion, especially undisturbed for the last 15 minutes. I was in a gathering. Both brother. Well, first of all, good evening to everyone. Both brother Duran and myself are members of a very important group called National Black Food and Justice Alliance, and they have their annual leadership retreat in Atlanta. So, because so many people from the alliance are in Atlanta, they had a kind of social hour. So it was kind of loud and crunk for a minute.
Nice.
But I say that even as a means of going back into what we're talking about, cooperative farming, because the National Black and Food and Justice Alliance is really all about creating a solidarity economy, So just like everything else that we've been studying in this class, we're not talking about theory with that theory that is void of example. Because the whole point is to set y'all up for success. Success, of course, is a nuanced thing. It looks different for different people. As we talked about at the beginning, success for some people may be growing enough herbs to make room sprays and tinctures. I don't know what that I'm hearing. Are y'all hearing something?
It might be my phone. It might be my computer. You might be hearing that little buzz. What does it sound like? Because I'm hearing the sound. That's not. That's
Sounds like
hearing the
white
buzz.
noise.
That's my computer. Let me hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, so for some people, success may be, growing enough herbs to create salves and room sprays for their family, for the summer months when you're outdoors a lot. For other people, success may be running a very um, profitable CSA, feeding 1,000 people every week. Success may be, having the pleasure and the joy, the bliss of just going into your backyard or on your porch and always seeing something growing that came from your hands and being able to add it to, to supplement your meal, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever success is for you, in the space of productivity, in the space of, abundance, in the space of, adding value to yourself and to the planet, we it's feasible. So without long introduction, because we have a short amount of time, I wanted to just kind of set the stage. I did receive some of your homeworks. I'm currently driving, so I can't go down the list of all who sent the homework. But just to just kind of review what we're working on, because we're coming up on graduation time. And as I said, it wasn't in jest in terms of earning that certificate at the end. Our assignments that you got from me are designed to kind of be cut and paste towards this last part because you did them well. So let's review the assignments. And then we're kind of go into some more deeper discussion about your crop plans and your cooperative um, discoveries. That's really what my goal is tonight. So the assignment, the first one was the half season or half year crop plan. Also to find at least 3 sources of seeds and or seedlings. Then looking at the different irrigation methods and to be very clear about 3 alternatives that you can use for irrigation. The first assignment was your ideal garden. That don't be realistic. And then now what we're doing with all these other assignments, actually, I skipped over that one, but that was the first one. And what we're doing all over with these assignments is matching that up with the practical garden that you will start with. So it's not a way in any way wiping away the possibilities, and at the same time adding on to that to say, okay, here's what we can start with tomorrow. Here's what I can implement spring 2026 in Richmond, Virginia, or wherever I live to get this going on, right? Also the sources of compost. So the second assignment was the second half garden plan using the crop rotation method as well as possible. So again, just doing all the homework means at the end we just put it together. And it's designed that way for people who are busy, people who have jobs and families and other hobbies and all kind of stuff going on, as I'm sure is the case with everyone in this class. So very excited about seeing where we are. And I want to do minimal talking. This is time for y'all to really speak up. I remember speaking to Brother Duran about the class I taught right before we had that little 2-week break. That I was excited just about hearing some of the whisperings. I don't remember if it was just general banter when we were getting ready to get started or if it was in some breakout groups. But hearing the whisperings of some people talking about working together. And that's just really one of our ultimate goals. It doesn't always have to look that way in terms of, okay, we're coming together in a cooperative. I would like to give y'all a little brief video tour and talk to my partners because, and this, I'm saying all of this because it may be part of your best practices too. We're not secretive, but we're very strategic and private about who we're telling about this farm that we just inherited. Because when we roll out, we want to roll out properly. because as farmers in Atlanta, Georgia, still, even though it's so popular now and you got 1,000 farmers on TikTok, half of them probably are posting AI pictures, not farmers, but people who are calling themselves influencers, this, that, and the third. The whole point is agriculture and gardening and urban agriculture is sexy now, right? However, it's still in terms of getting it into the heart of our people, the average everyday person, to really see that as something valuable and almost imperative is still a long ways off. So we're still a part of that welcoming committee, attempting to welcome people back to the land. And so to those ends, in Atlanta, Georgia, for instance, where we're operating, we want to be strategic because we understand it's almost like a battle for the mind. And we understand that first impressions are very huge. And we understand that people ultimately want to be juxtaposed to something that seems to be powerful, whether it's popular or whether it's something that brings opulence in terms of finances and all that, or whether it's whatever it is, people want to be down with something that's powerful. So I want to give y'all a little look at what we've done, because I think, again, it's something practical, simply because we're talking about something that your peers are doing. We're all farmers who have invested a lot of time in that, so you may not think we're peers, but we also have families, other businesses, all kind of stuff that is happening on the political front, on the spiritual front, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if it's something that we can do, it's also something that you can do. This is specifically about the cooperative coming together, pooling resources, understanding, as the proverb says, that if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. We've seen so many examples, even in the world geopolitics in the last couple of weeks, of how having a group of people that you work with and you can rely on and you can hold each other accountable and you can also protect each other, how that is so valuable. So let me hush because I'm preaching to the choir. Just wanted to kind of because we're going to be moving rapidly these last couple of weeks as we get ready for graduation. We love volunteers on the farm, so I want to know here's the prompt. Here's what I'm asking. I'm asking for you to share some insights. Keep it 2 minutes, 3 minutes if necessary. Share some insights that you have found in your research regarding cooperative. I just want to keep it broad for now, regarding cooperatives. Regarding the way that people come together in different ways, or the different ways that people come together to pool their resources, pool their talent, pool their skill, pool their visions and their capacity, all of that stuff. So I got any volunteers?
Hey, this is Alex. I'll kick it off. I found some really cool stuff. Um, okay, so sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes real quick.
Cool. Let's see if I can
Okay,
put it through Bluetooth so I can hear y'all better. I'm
word.
holding my phone driving. Go
All right,
ahead, brother.
okay, so I sent all these notes in the group, so if anyone else is interested, you can revisit it. But pretty much I had the following questions. How do you start? Where do you get money? How do you become a member if you're how do you become a co-op member if you're just a community member? Where does the product come from? And then what are the benefits? I found a really interesting food co-op in Brooklyn called Park Slope. They started with 10 initial members that made up like a governing body. They have 50 to 60 full-time employees who are in charge of managing about 15,000 members of the community that each donates about 2.5 hours of service a month. So they don't have to pay any employees, and they essentially run a neighborhood-owned supermarket. They also have a revolving loan fund to set up other cooperatives because they believe in the cooperative economy, which is to say that because they are not profit motivated, having more people with the same business model and mission is actually a benefit to the whole. So it's a more sustainable model. And they also said that a lot of times asking people to put their time in and not just their money is a lot more meaningful in terms of building a lasting relationship. So I thought that was interesting. They also had some interesting stuff about what they considered local. They have a 500-mile radius. I digress. Pretty cool. I also looked up, there's a Virginia, Maryland, Delaware electricity co-op.
And hold on, before you go further, that's in Park Slope, Maryland, or that's called
No,
Park
that's
Slope?
in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay,
NYC.
okay, Park Slope. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
And
yes,
you
sir.
said local is considered a 500-mile radius?
Yeah, because it's essentially what could be trucked into Brooklyn inside of a day. Um,
Yes, yeah, I understand completely.
yeah,
That's the model we use, not to cut you, but
no, you're good.
even on the farm for what we consider to be, that's the threshold for us in terms of what we will sell
Word.
at market. If we don't grow it ourselves or we don't get it from local, like hyper local people in the same community in the same neighborhood. Like for instance, we don't grow a lot of apples in Atlanta. So I
Yeah,
get apples from Ellijay, which is 2 hours away. I won't sell anything that's like Haitian mangoes that were shipped away, shipped from somewhere else or from Mexico or from Canada or from, England or whatever. But in South Florida, they have mangoes, and we have a market. People want tropical fruit. But
hmm
it's just something that we do as part of a statement to inspire the local food economy. So I appreciate you sharing that. Go ahead.
So just a couple more things that I found interesting. The electricity co-op, they provide more of a like value added. Essentially, the long and short is that electricity demand outpaces supply. Co-ops make decisions on how to meet the demands of their local communities by investing in new electrical grid projects, and some of them are actually super innovative, like San Miguel Electrical Co-op's geothermal energy storage system. That's like new. That's like a first of its kind thing. Generally, they move money from highly controlled and centralized resources like oil into emerging distributed markets, um, like gas, nuclear, hydroelectricity, that sort of thing. And generally speaking, even though they're big fans of coal, they pretty much always reduce greenhouse gases. And it's also their mission to keep rates low and lights on, even as demand goes up. And the members of the co op, and therefore the governing body of the co op, is made up of communities that make decisions on well being rather than profit. So it's kind of a distributed network. And that actually, electricity co ops actually account for about 92% of electricity in persistent poverty counties in America, and they serve about 42 million people. Um, and then the last thing I'll say, just because I thought this was so fascinating, the seventh largest company in Spain is called Mondragon. And they operate in a bunch of different sectors, namely finance, industry, retail, and what they call knowledge. Um, Mondragon is actually a village in Basque country. The Basque are the only remaining native European people. Like when like when whoever came from like the Caucasus Mountains and like conquered all the like tribes in Europe like 4,000 years ago. They did not get the Basque people. And so they are very all about solidarity. Essentially, Mondragon is a solidarity economy as a corporation. They have several cooperative organizations within them, and it started off as a reaction to the rise of Spanish dictator Francisco Franco, who brutally persecuted the Basque people. And so essentially, this is a solidarity economy of the Basque that now operates internationally. And so essentially, they are a co-op of co-ops of co-ops. So like they have a food one called Eroski, Eroski, which is itself a conglomerate of small co-op food stores. So it's like a grocery chain like Kroger, but for co-op food stores. And what's really cool is they're also active in like American infrastructure. So like they kind of augmented their structure to be like union friendly. And I know I've taken up a lot of time. This is the last thing I'll say. They one thing that I'll type this into the group, but they operate under the Rochdale Principles of Cooperative Ownership, and they are one big thing that all co-ops kind of claim is that they are recession proof. And so it's really interesting. So when the recession happened, several of their kind of like branches, right? Like I think they have like 13 branches of country at this point in like 2008. Two of them either liquidated or left, which meant that they had all these assets that were no longer like in operation. And what's really interesting is that a company from Catalonia, which is another area in Spain that was heavily persecuted by Francisco Franco and is autonomous and operates in solidarity, purchased these wings of the company. And so this like, you know, standalone solidarity economy that was originally a product of one persecuted people was then made into the product of multiple persecuted peoples within Spain, which kind of furthers the idea of the importance of an international solidarity economy. And so, yeah, they're pretty much just practicing communism right under the corporate nose. And I think it's pretty cool. So, yeah, but
Amen.
a lot of what I found was like principles of cooperation, and I'll send those in the chat.
Yeah, please do. Thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that this is already going outside of the box. As we can see, the cooperative model for without fear of being redundant is something that's a human model, and it happens on many different levels. You know, I appreciate that. And please, for the rest of y'all, it was very thorough, Alex. The time just need a little summary just so that other people can be able to share. So for the rest, please, y'all, if we need a timekeeper, we can do that. And you can this is just a summary of what the information you've gathered, and we can share it all. We'll have a database where we can share all of this information y'all can have access to even after you've graduated. The whole point of this is no busy work at all. It's about information gathering for inspiration building. So thank you. Again, anybody else that wants to volunteer? I'm not able to read the chat, so if somebody can regulate that.
Well, I'll go if you want me to.
Yes, sir. We love volunteers in the garden.
Okay, I'll make it short and sweet.
Brother, before you go, Baba, Brother Duran, I put a request to record. I want to make sure we're recording.
Yeah, we're
I don't know if we
recording.
are.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
recording.
beautiful.
Okay, I was looking at this historically, so I'd simply say my first cooperative organization was family, particularly extended family, and everybody's probably quite familiar with that in terms of mutual assistance and help. Some people do certain specialized things like keep a roof over your head, others maintain, clean, fix, repair the house, and then you have some issues where all members of a family will work together, such as food production. My second experience was an outfit called the Glut Farm Co-op, GLUT. It's in Mount Rainier, Maryland, not far, just across the line from DC and not far from where I grew up. And that's a workers collective that provides a food member workers collective. They basically, everyone is a member of the board. They all work together. All the volunteers are paid a fixed rate, which is, I think, about $7.25 an hour, and you get store credit, and all the decisions are made by everyone involved in it. And they also provide training. That was something that I was exposed to back in the 1960s. And then I was looking for a third one. I had a third one, but I just realized yesterday that this one is close to home to me, and that is we have a citizens coalition here in the county, and we do a number of things, one of which is a food bank. And that food bank provides food every month to anyone that wants to come and get it. All the volunteers are not paid, and they too are able to receive food if they wish it. What has happened is that we also have other people that bring food to us, farmers that have overproduction or food that they cannot sell commercially because the crop is just too large. They bring those to the food bank every month, and we distribute those. Also, we have deforestation going on in the county, so that the deer population was very, very large. So some of the hunting outfits that bagged a lot of deer, they got it certified by the USDA so that they could give it away. So they make that available for anyone that wants to have that as well. I'll leave out my fourth one, which I just substituted. But that was a mutual aid society, the Masonics, and others are probably familiar with that organization.
Mutual Aid Society of Masons.
Yes.
Yeah, and can you share all of these and make sure you share these in the chat? I'm very intrigued. So I wanted to ask about the previous one, the third one, your third choice. They're all so are all of these still going? I mean, obviously family is still going.
Yes. Yes. Glut is still is still very active. Yes. I first became involved with it back in the 1960s, but they are still going strong right in Mount Rainier, Maryland.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm hoping that we're seeing from this exercise, y'all, that there's so many different ways. Let's just say there are different ways to pick a cherry. I don't want to string a cat. It just seems so violent. Different ways to pick a cherry. With the cooperative, my people, the whole cooperation is a very serious thing. I want to pause and ask. Let me see. Thank you for that, Barbara. I'm just gonna pick someone randomly. Madison, I want to ask you to share if any of the co-ops that you've heard so far really jumped out at you in terms of the model, maybe the scale, maybe the emphasis, the point of emphasis. Did anyone that jump out at you so far?
I don't think so, man. This is all new information to me, so it's all jumping at me.
I feel you. I mean, let me ask in a different way. If you had to choose one today, all expense paid, this is something that you get to experience the workings of this co-op. Is there one that got your attention more than any other one?
I want to say no because again, I want to just do it all. So I guess the Park Slope Coop in Brooklyn, New York, that seemed very interesting.
What about it? What aspects?
Hold on, you're kind of
Mhm.
cutting out.
Sorry, no, I was just asking what aspects. What aspects seemed interesting? I'm just intrigued. Is my signal steady, y'all? Can y'all hear me?
I think it's just me, but I'm always having problems with this computer.
Oh no, I was just saying you said the park slope, so I was just asking what aspect of the park slope made you choose that one. What I'm just curious. What intrigued you? And for the rest of y'all, the reason I'm asking these questions is because we want to look at it from two perspectives. We're getting into the market now. We're getting into the marketplace. And as you all maybe some of you under protest agreed by default, we all chose to take on the title of social engineers by taking on this course. So what does that mean? In a very practical way, that means that we now have some type of sense of responsibility, sense of initiative, sense of empowerment to sell, for lack of a better word, or we want to say convince, we want to say wherever we want to put it, promote the idea of humanity in our society returning to a more natural way of functioning, right? So I'm interested, like what catches your attention? What was it about that TV commercial versus the other one that made you say, "Hey, as a layperson, as a person who is interested in farming, as an expert farmer, whatever, wherever we are in that spectrum, you know, hey, I want to get with this." So that's what I'm asking those questions for, because I want us to really think about the approach. First of all, the approach to promotion of our ideas, and then also the substance. What is the substance of how people have gotten together, or maybe nothing that I've found in my research, but something me and my friends came up with that really resonates with us, that we can do something that really fulfills the function of pooling our resources and making progress, you know, uh, putting all ourselves in, whether it's a safer, whether it's a more economically viable, whether it's a more healthy, whether it's a more, secure, safe, secure, whatever space. So that's why I'm asking these questions. Is there anyone else that would like to volunteer? I'm finally off the road so I can look
I'll
more
volunteer.
closely at
It's
faces
Sharia.
and pick on y'all. Okay, Sharia, what's happening? How you doing?
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm doing good.
What you got?
How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Thank you for asking. Doing well.
Good. Okay. Well, I've got I focused I focused a lot on well, all the things you asked. I'll be kind of quick because I am trying to do this without coughing up a lung. So, I looked at mutual aid societies as well as cooperative models. So one of the cooperative models that I looked at was a multi-stakeholder cooperative where you have like three different types of member groups, like workers, customers, and community members, and how each of them have a voice at the table, right? So the workers get to like get a voice on what is planted, as well as the customers and the community members who are coming to be a part of it. I thought about that as a pretty neat idea for my farm, which is mostly going to be um, medicinal herbs. Um, and so I thought that was a great cooperative to think about for myself. But I really love mutual aid networks and have been independently doing research for about a decade on Black women mutual aid networks, especially those that are
Okay.
considered kind of secret. So two of my
Mm,
favorites are
mm.
the Order of the Tents, which has an active chapter here in Virginia. The Order of the Tents is a Black women's mutual aid organization. It started like in the 1800s. And they are based, okay, so in the 1800s, if you're familiar with um, American history, especially history of Black folks, there was a need for community support and care for funeral and burial costs, emergency financial services, elder care, widowers care, family care, orphans. And so these are chapters that came together to just support community people and kind of in secret because it wasn't something that they were publicly showing. It was really important for them to be able to mobilize financially and period kind of quietly. Actually, the Order of the Tents is the Virginia chapter, I think as recently as maybe 6 years ago, kind of went a little public because the membership is dying off. And so they're looking for younger women to be a part of it. Now, they're
Oh
still
wow.
around. If you think of, but if we go back to Daughters of Africa, which started in 1821 in Philly, they're they're technically defunct, but it's the same motion and movement, right? Black folks couldn't go to hospitals. They could not really be a part of anything that existed in white society. And so um Black folks just or Black women specifically came together to take care of burial costs, take care of hospital visits like financially, or just mobilize care for people. Now, my absolute favorite is actually based in hold on, let me get this right because I think I talked about it wrong. Okay, yeah, they're Brazilian, Afro-Brazilian. Now these are Sisters of the Good Death or Sisterhood of the Good Death. Now these ladies are amazing. So these women started as a group of women who had bought their freedom, right, and would go and make food and sell that food so that they could buy other people out of freedom, into freedom in Brazil. Um,
Wow.
there is also like a spiritual aspect to their collective. Um, but I really love these frameworks of Black women being like, oh, oppression, no problem. I got it. So those are the mutual aid societies that I looked up. And that's the co-op that I looked up, which is the
Wow.
multi-member situation.
Y'all are exceeding expectations. Y'all are exceeding expectations because we really looking at um various aspects of how to do a thing, you know. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate that. And the names, the names, the names of these some of these mutual aid societies. Powerful. Next person, for the sake of time, we're gonna keep moving. Thank you for that.
Uh,
I'll go.
no, you go, you go.
Thanks, Ade. This is Keyron. Um, I kind of went down a rabbit hole, but I focused on looking up or researching mutual aid models in therapeutic floriculture, and I had already been researching and had already came across a mutual aid model in floriculture. I came across this in conversation with one of John Mitchell Jr.'s relatives, and John Mitchell, he was a prominent Richmond, Virginia historical figure. But the mutual aid organization that I came across, or that was brought up to me, it's the Negro Garden Club of Virginia, and it was also women led. It was founded in 1932 right here in Virginia during Jim Crow, and this is an example that's particularly relevant to therapeutic floriculture. and relevant to what I am studying because it shows how Black women use flowers and gardens as resources for liberation and not just decoration. It also was started by a woman named Ethel Early Clark, and that resonates with me as well. My late grandmother's name was Ethel, but it was started by her and three men, including horticulturalist Asha Sims from Hampton Institute. I thought it was important to. I mean, I always think it's important to just highlight the spaces and places of history in plain sight, being that I'm a native to Richmond. But the club grew from 7 clubs to over 100 chapters with more than 1,000 members by the 1950s. And it operated as a federated mutual aid society, independent clubs joining together for shared resources, seed exchanges, and collective power. And I think what makes this profound is their 4 core values. They explicitly connected gardening to voting rights, to community empowerment in red line neighborhoods, interracial cooperation during segregation, and joy as resistance. And one club even reported that every member is voting in their club during an era of poll taxes and violent voter suppression. And these women, they understood what what I'm learning now, and what I believe in. What I truly believe is that therapeutic horticulture is that, or that nature is inseparable from justice. So we can't really be doing justice work without doing the justice of nature work. And you can talk about healing through plants without asking who you can't really talk about healing through plants without asking who has access to land, clean soil, and the freedom to garden safely. So, despite inspiring Black garden clubs nationwide and publishing a 336-page handbook, I forgot what the name of the handbook was. With an introduction by Eleanor Roosevelt, the club is virtually unknown today. Their last meeting was in 1992. Most records are lost. And I think in 2022, though, there was a honoring of the club. The Virginia Library honored them here. And when Ethel Early Clark tended her flower beds in Roanoke, she wasn't just gardening, she was doing freedom work. And that's a legacy that I think we're all building on through this fellowship.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's keep it moving. Yeah, I'm gonna ask your permission if everyone is cool with it. Or Brother Manifest, we're going to kind of isolate this because this research that y'all have given, let me finish my thought. Isolate it and share it with some of our groups from our farming groups. So this research that y'all have done is so valuable. Just even from inspiration. You know, there's an old saying, what humans have done, humans can do, you know? And a lot of this none of it is surprising to me, and a lot of it is brand new to me in terms of, okay, this happened. You know, there's so much good that's in the world, but the corporate media chooses very deliberately to focus on the drama to keep us confused and everything, you know? So it's beautiful to see some of this was happening. Let's keep moving for the sake of time. We have another volunteer.
I'm volunteering.
Okay, yes, sir.
So for the organization aspect, I could only think about specifically 2 organizations. There was one called the Deacons for Defense. Their structures were had different like layers to them. In the very center, you had like leaders who
We lost you today.
I'm sorry, there was a part of the group that was the center part of the group where people did the most stuff. I think these were leaders. I think and as you go outwards, the less and less people are involved, and I think the outermost sphere are people who support the group and who adopt their messaging. Those are supporters. Uh, and the deacons make sure that they have that when people are using weapons that they are, not a problem for everyone else, that they can use it properly, calmly.
Mhm.
Another organization that I wanted to mention was um shoot, I forgot. Yeah, it was we um okay, it was his name was Cabral. He had an organization, it was in Africa. He had an organization where where he'd teach students to like in debates on how to talk to people. He was described as a calm person, and that like he taught his students how to convince people properly. And sometimes he'd have his students like go to different villages instead of villages they came from to like to get rid of the parent to child um feud that would often occur. And there was one problematic person in the organization, and he was forced to leave. And that also talks about how if there are people who are problematic in your organization or causing issues, you gotta get rid of them. You gotta you gotta kick them out of your organization. Otherwise, they're going to cause a lot more problems down the line.
Indeed. You're talking about Amilcar Cabral?
Yes.
Yes. There's something that y'all might be interested in by Cabral, that is readily available on the internet for those of you who are not familiar. It's called The Weapon of Theory. It's called The Weapon of Theory. As I mentioned, as we talk about mutual aid, and I really love how y'all have taken the cue and looked at that beyond just trading tomatoes for oranges. And even though I'm not delivering trading tomatoes for oranges, because it all stems from the same principle, right? Share what we have. So yeah, Amilcar Cabral was called The Weapon of Theory. It was a speech given at the Tricontinental Congress, which was hosted in Havana, Cuba in 1961. Thank you for sharing. Amilcar Cabral. There's so many jewels in that speech that you may find something there that you can implement in 2026 in whatever aspect of your work you're doing, whether again with your family, your community, the dealing with environmental issue and how to organize and overcome that, dealing with organizing solidarity to help navigate climate change, the shifting economy, militarism, whatever it is, or just straight up rising prices. So therefore, the need to pool resources together than more than one may have seen the need to in the past, just in order to get all the agricultural supplies. It could be, if there is such a thing in this world, it could be apolitical, It might not be based on politics per se. I don't know if there's anything that It doesn't have politics involved in it, but you know what I mean by politics in terms of partisan politics and divisive politics, etc. So, yes, thank you for sharing. Time check 8:41. We have a few minutes left. Is there anyone that really, really wants to share? No volunteers, all good. So let's just move. Let's turn to the homework. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Let's turn to the remaining assignment. I have sent my email. You see my phone number as well. If you need to reach out, we can communicate via one of the beautiful things about voice text is we can leave voice notes and have a whole conversation while multitasking. So I'm saying all that to say I know I'm accessible if there are some specific questions about your homework, the technicalities of it, getting it done. But I want to open the forum for about 10 minutes to that, just about the assignments, making sure we're all on the same page, so that we can produce something that will set ourselves up for success. Leaving this class with a 1-year chart, but beyond just 1-year chart, the science and how to make it a 10-year chart. Eventually, you know, that's the whole point. You know, they say give a person a fish, they eat for a day, and teach them how to fish, you eat forever. So we're attempting to teach you how to fish as much as is feasible with this time. So I'd like just to open up the floor without any further comment. I'd like to open up the floor for questions about homework, anything.
I have a question.
Okay.
What kind of like tangible things do you want us to send you in the email? Like, do you want it to be like a Word document? Do you want it to be drawings? Like, what exactly like do I need to like produce in like for this? I mean, obviously I've been working my crop rotation and like a little bit of like design and all that, but what physical copies of things do you want?
Understood. I want it all. Thank you for asking. Designs, drawings are best for the crop plan, just so that we can really have a visual and see. The more you can sketch it out, the more you can draw it out. And when I say sketch it and draw it out, I don't mean as some kind of artistic genius, but to show the rotation, you know, to give an example of what types of beds, what are the shapes of the beds, where's the north and south and east and west, as much detail as possible. And again, I'm just checking it. I'm definitely checking it. And instead of saying, but the benefit is yours in having more and more and more of a blueprint, you know, a more succinct blueprint. So, for instance, for the list of sources of compost, or for the list of sources of seeds and seedlings, just a list is sufficient, you know. Where this company was, their website, whether, you know, not all, you don't have to give a whole summary of the company and all that, but these are living lists, a resource guide of people who have the things that you're going to choose from. Maybe even a backup. You may have the element of surprise as your main option and not want to really give that out. I don't care. It's just stuff secret. The whole point is be able to show 3 very tangible, very real-time examples of what you're going to use, you know, how you're going to get it. So all of those things can be basic lists typed up. So specifically for the crop plan, I would like some type of visual, as I said, some type of aerial view of your garden.
So let me interject real quick in that. So next week in our in-person class, we're gonna practice that. We're gonna talk about some design ideas for small quarter-acre farms, and this you don't have to be an artist for this, but we're gonna bring out the butcher paper, the markers, color pencils. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna go over you. You all kind of coming. You're gonna work. Y'all gonna be drawing next Wednesday. So, you know,
Beautiful.
you don't have to do that right now. I'm gonna do a quick. We're gonna do a quick thing together, but then y'all gonna break up into small groups to iterate some quick draft designs. But then this is the last piece I want to say. On the 28th, when we graduate, you all, when we at the graduation, part of that is like it's kind of like final presentations.
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna when it's time to for the to hand you your certificate, you're gonna come up and you should be able to bring up that butcher paper and say, yo, this is what I'm imagining my space to look like in a rough idea. It doesn't have to be dialed into the most. Don't have to be like, okay, it's scaled to the every inch is equivalent to a foot or whatever. It should be a good representation of what you're trying to do, along with the final iteration of your farm profile. Yeah, your crop plan, your crop plan, and the first assignment that you did that I gave you when we first started this, your farm vision. You should be able to articulate that. Yes. So graduation is also a presentation day. We're not just handing you a certificate like, hey, thank you. You want to talk about what you're anticipating to do at the graduation, right? That's in your moment when I call your name up. Be prepared to be like, I took this class, and this is what this is what I anticipate doing with this information. Here's the vision for my farm. This is what the mission and the goals are. This is what my crop plan will be. These are the places I'm going to get my seeds. These are the places I'm going to get my compost. All of that, the stuff that Kofi is giving you for your assignment, you're gonna compile that. Basically, you're gonna compile that stuff and kick it back to us so that we could be approved and assured that you were in this class and not just a fly on the wall. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you very much for adding that dimension. So yeah, I wanted to answer your question in full. So that's the other part to it. So I mean, we've spoken about this earlier, but just to reiterate, as Brother Duran just said, we're looking forward to having a presentation done on graduation day. And in terms of the email specifically, because some people, as I said earlier, some people do 3D stuff, all kind of stuff. I've seen all kind of models. People do shoebox models of their gardens, and all that kind of stuff. You can get as deep and as creative as you want to. The reality is we need the fundamental reflection of how these various bed spaces are going to be used over 12 months to grow food, particularly using the crop rotation methods as much as possible. Putting into consideration the rotation of the crops and putting that into consideration because we've already laid out the case to why Dr. Carver was so special and so it just gave us such a gift with that instruction. So did your question get answered? Pardon me, I forgot who asked the question.
Yes, y'all did a great job. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool.
So what's your email?
Again, it's on the farm pros at Gmail. Let me put in the chat. Email.
Hey, Duran, I asked this in the chat, but do you have any examples from previous years? Like, I
I
mean,
think I
honestly,
might have some. I have some
Sam.
I got
video.
my
I might have. I think I have some videos of some of the folks. I gotta go through and chop it up. I'll chop up one and send it over to you. I know Sam. Everybody from Sam's cohort. I think I videotaped it. So let me find them, and I send it over to. I send a video
Sweet.
into the WhatsApp.
That would be super helpful. Thank you.
I got my hand up, but I don't know if hands are being tracked. I
Yeah,
just want to
still
get
working too.
clarity. When is graduation again?
January 28th.
Okay, the 28th. And so today is the 7th. So we talking
Either,
about in the next 3 weeks, we're gonna graduate, but actually we're doing presentations on what we have been doing the entire time.
Exactly.
yeah, part of
Okay,
your graduation is
great.
just presenting your final project. So it's just
Right. You've already
articulating
done the
what it.
work, or you should have already been. You should have already done the
Mm,
work, and
Yeah,
you'll be
that's
putting it all
fine.
together. And
Yes, the work
put.
is finished. The work, fine. It's not really about the work. It's about like, hey, okay, cool. Presentation, didn't realize that. How long is that going to be? What are the expectations? How
Sharia,
big, like,
I know you
what?
do. I know you do college classes. This is not a college course.
But this is okay, but this is not about it being a college course or what my expertise is. This is about right now in
Okay,
class
you
on
don't
the
have to do
7th.
it. You don't have to
No,
do
no,
it.
it's not
You
about
can be
me not
exempt.
wanting to do it. I just want the information. That is always ever what I am asking for is the information,
The
right? And
information is
so,
this: you will present what your farm vision is and a picture of what you're trying to do, along with your crop rotation plan, where you're going to get your seeds from, where you're going to get your compost from. Very simple.
and this is all the information that I will ever have to present. It's not going to change. It's not going to be different. It's going to be this.
Yes, dear.
Don't
Yes.
y'all, okay.
So,
Yes.
All right, fine.
Yes.
I will talk about this afterwards in
You
a
can talk about it
communication that
all
does
you
not
want. I'm
promote class.
tired.
Okay,
You
well,
making it
yo,
difficult.
I am also tired. I am exhausted. And I just want to make sure when I leave a place where you're giving information that we got all the information. That's all. I
I
just want to make
yeah,
repeated.
sure
that's
because
that's
I didn't know
fine.
we were
So
presenting.
I
let me
repeated it,
answer
and
the
I'm going to put
question
it in the
because
chat.
let me answer the question because it's a good question. I mean, I don't necessarily provide rubrics in that way. However, there's nothing wrong with them. And so what I'm hearing basically is what's the criteria for success? So fundamentally, first and foremost, everything has already been sent in writing in terms of what your final project should comprise of. And this presentation is just a synopsis. Like tonight, to give an example, when you had you had an assignment which was clear, and I asked for people to take 2 to 3 minutes to give a synopsis of what what really came up in your research about mutual aid slash cooperatives. So it's really the same thing for your final project or for your final presentation. It is something that you're not expected to make no bells and whistles and make no,
That it
a Canva project, etc.
ain't that deep.
And that is neither is that dissuaded. If you want to do that, that's fine. It's just something with the interest of time that will take no more than 5 minutes per person, since
Exactly.
we have
20
25
people.
people in the group. But it's just literally, as I've said from the beginning, um, it's designed to be something that is a compilation of what you've done all year, so you don't have anything new to do. No busy work. So everything that you've been given was very intentional about, well, what will be the pieces that you need to empower you to take you to a place of getting your own garden started. That's it. So let me know if there's any other questions. Did that answer the question, Sharia, or anyone else? Because I'm sure if Sharia spoke up for herself, she probably was her question was reflective of something somebody else had as well. Just want to make sure it's all clear.
Next week, will y'all be giving us like feedback on our 12-month crop rotation plan?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to have it due before our next class. So we can have in-class feedback. We can have in-class discussion. That's why I reached out 2 or 3 weeks ago to say, well, here's my email so you can reach out to me, call me, talk to me about this stuff. Just attempting to make myself available. You understand? So yes, feedback is definitely is that's what we're attempting to give feedback before you just turn in your final project. So you can know if you can get a reflection of if your trajectory is in alignment. You'll definitely get feedback. Any other questions? Let me see in our waning moments of the class. I can just read out very briefly. Are y'all hearing me? Just a mic check. I have to take off my screen to look for email. Are y'all hearing me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so just want to thank the people who assignments I received. I got from Anya. That's the latest one. Becky Skatoff. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Kiran Bigot. Josette Coleman. Rara H. No, that's not right. Sorry. That's somebody else.
This is the co-op assignment.
Yeah, the thing that I sent the email about.
Got you. Yeah, I will email you my thing.
Ray Keith, I got yours. Nancy Strange, thank you. Those are the names I see without looking in spam. So just want to give everyone the opportunity to speak up if you did send it and I didn't call your name. I didn't see it in the inbox. That's about 5 or 6 people out of the 20. So again, my whole point in asking for these assignments early on is to give you feedback so it can be a smooth process. Just this is what we need. Efficiency. So the goal is okay, a little bit at a time. Here's add this dimension to it, and now give us some feedback so we can make sure we're on the same page. Any other questions before we close?
I don't have a question, but could I just add something? The co-op project assignment that we had, I found that to be very interesting. Actually going into that, I didn't know what a cooperative was. So just finding out what that was all about, I actually discovered that I'm part, what we do in our nonprofit, I'm actually participating in, well, it's not a co-op, but I'm on the far end of it. So from the cooperative, it goes to a for-profit who donates then to us, the nonprofit, and we take that food out into the community. So I just thought that was really good to see my work like that, that it really is something we didn't just dream up, but we're actually doing something in this format of a cooperative and what's the other word? Mutual aid. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for sharing that. That's affirming. That's the reason we gave the assignment, I can't stress enough. It's no busy work. It's like, okay, what are the elements that can help us while we have a million other things juggling in our lives, etc., to just have some practical pieces, building blocks towards a sustainable life, towards the things that each person, I must say this, towards the things that each of you declared that you had as your goal as we sat around the circle at the beginning. So thank you for the feedback. Um, and again, a huge part of that is like looking at the blueprint, you know. As you said, Mama Josette, like you realize that you were part of this. You're doing this. This is the work you're doing anyway, right? Just looking at the blueprint. Okay, so here's how we structure this. Here's how we structure our finances, or here's how we structure our communication. And here's how we structure. Here's our goal. Like those secret orders that came up earlier. I mean, that's man, that's stuff that I think humanity as a whole right now, with all that's going on in the world, could probably have some very good thoughts about, or get some very good inspiration from, you know, like building blocks. So we're not feeling so overwhelmed and so helpless because big corporations or big armies or whatever are trampling over people's rights. Because okay, well, here's how people have, because that's nothing new. Well, here's how people have navigated this and actually thrived in the midst of great depressions and all of that, you know? So that's the whole point.
Yeah, man. I'm going to recap all of the, what will be on the 28th on in the email, but again, in the WhatsApp group. And then next week, when we get together on Wednesday, we're going to do the exercise for actually drawing out a schematic for your farm. We'll talk a little bit about that. I'm just repeating that. On Saturday, we're going to be back at Runnymede. We did not complete the mission, so we have a few more roles to establish. Again, putting all of the things that we've been putting into practice over the last 8 weeks into application at the Runnymede situation, with the offering that once upon completion of this program, if you are ready to take on what you said you wanted to do in the inception of this experience, you can literally take that presentation that you did and implement it at the Runnymede Community Farm. So, we're good. We already got farms. This is for you, right? And then on top of that, there's funding opportunities that may come along. And if you could just whip that thing out, you very well can get the funding for whatever resources you need. So again, we already have farm spaces established, and we're here to help you do what you said that you want to do. So, this is all to lead that up so there's a seamless flow to move you from ideation to activation, right?
Yeah, man. From potential to kinetic. And sending much love to Nancy, and that's mutual aid in motion right now. It's something that, it's funny because, a lot of stuff that gets a label and has a fancy title to it is how we just live as human beings. Coming from my culture in the Caribbean, walking barefoot is just a thing we do. Some people would prefer to have had shoes, but we just, because of poverty, because of all these things, and some people get clowns. They used to get clowns for it or laughed at. Now it's a fancy thing called grounding, So I'm saying that to say what we're bringing out, the whole purpose of this program is to bring out that which is already in us but may be dormant. Period, the end.
All right. So look, it's 9:06. We will see you on Saturday, 11 at Runnymede Community Farm. If you need the address, we're going to post it again inside of the WhatsApp chat. And yeah, man, thank you for an amazing class. I'll share also the the recording of tonight's session as soon as it's uploaded to